quiet community just outside of Chicago was turned upside down when a couple, their 2 young sons and 3 dogs, were found shot dead inside their home. Police were called in for a welfare check at the home in Romeoville, Illinois, on Sunday morning. Officers arrived to find the bodies of Alberto Rolón, 38, Zoraida Bartolome, 32, their 2 boys, aged 7 and 10, and their dogs. Police in Chicago have said the deaths of 4 people in their Romeoville subdivision home were not a random act, a reversal of an earlier position that the killings were a murder-suicide. The Will County coroner identified the adults as 38-year-old Alberto Rolón and 32-year-old Zoraida Bartolome. The couple's 2 sons, believed to be aged 7 and 9, were not named. Our detectives and crime scene investigators have spent the last 36 hours collecting a tremendous amount of physical evidence, Romeoville's Deputy Police Chief, Chris Byrne, said on Tuesday. We were able to determine that this was not a random incident, and there was no cause for a shelter-in-place order. Police said they believe the victims were killed sometime between Saturday night and early Sunday morning. They have offered no motive or description of an assailant, and appealed for any information, including surveillance camera footage. The mystery surrounding the murders comes as a local news outlet reported that no federal law enforcement agencies have been called in, as would be conventional if police suspected signs of a drug cartel's involvement. Neighbors said that the family had recently moved into the neighborhood. One described the family as a close-knit, and said they just stayed to themselves. Neighbors also said they were confused as to why no gunshots were heard. Their largest debts were $26,000 in student loans. The lack of insight into the killings prompted one of the victims' siblings to post on social media asking for any information. "Please contact police if you know or see anything," they wrote. "I want to know what happened to my nephews, my sister, her husband, and why." The mayor of Romeoville, John Noak, said, "It is important that we conduct a thorough investigation, and we have committed our full resources to that task. The victims deserve that." Update: the fatal shooting of a family of 4 and their dogs at a home in a Chicago suburb was not a murder-suicide, but also not a random incident, according to police. No arrests have been made in the case, but officials say that there is no reason for people to shelter inside in the wake of the shocking incident. This incident is the police department's top priority. A GoFundMe page has been set up by Ms. Bartolome's sister, Brianna Bartolome, to raise money for funeral expenses for the whole family. These were hard-working people that had just bought their first home. Their kids were the sweetest, most innocent angels who could hug your worries away. Updated: person of interest dead, another critically wounded in connection to murdered family in Romeoville. 2 persons of interest were identified after an entire family was shot to death in their Romeoville home over the weekend. Officers responded to the home around 8:43 p.m. and made a tragic discovery. A member of the family did not show up for work at 6 a.m. on the morning of Sunday, September 17th, and did not respond to phone calls throughout the day, said Deputy Chief Chris Byrne, Romeoville Police Department. Monday morning, police shut down the street for the investigation, removing several pieces of evidence from the home, including a computer server. Within hours of the shooting, police identified Nathaniel Huey Jr., 31, of Streamwood, and a woman who was in a relationship with Huey, as the persons of interest. On Tuesday, the woman was reported to be a missing and endangered person by her family out of Streamwood. The same day, officials announced that based on a tremendous amount of physical evidence collected at the scene, detectives have determined the attack was targeted, and not a random incident. Police then issued a statewide bulletin that was distributed to local law enforcement agencies, stating that Huey was a credible person of interest in the Romeoville murders. The fact that nobody heard anything, and these houses are pretty close together, is very sinister, said one community member who did not want to be identified. Those who live nearby said the family had only lived on the block for a few months. Neighbors said they never noticed any issues at the home. On Wednesday morning, acting on a digital license plate reader, the Catoosa, Oklahoma Police Department was alerted to the presence of the suspect vehicle. Local authorities located the vehicle and attempted to conduct a traffic stop. The vehicle then tried to evade officers, resulting in a single vehicle crash. Following the crash, the vehicle caught on fire. Police then heard what they believed to be 2 gunshots. As they approached the vehicle, they located a woman with a gunshot wound in critical condition and a man with a gunshot wound, who was deceased. The man is believed to be Huey, police said. The investigation is ongoing and police do believe the persons of interest had a motive for the murder.